Environmental, and welcome back to another one of our Perc Series. Today we have with us Adam from Vaillancourt Roofing. Welcome, Adam, and thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Gail.
Great. As we get into the winter seasons, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about roofing and some different questions that I think our homeowners might have. So how do you find a qualified roofer?
One of the first things that I do, or I recommend in finding a qualified roofer, would be to do a lot of searching online. Basically, the information's there nowadays to provide for you as far as Better Business Bureau ratings, Yelp reviews, Facebook, Google reviews, and then one of the biggest things is to basically look at a company's years in business, under the same name, how long they've been in business, Better Business Bureau ratings for that company, also like number of years in business, but their own experience, their own experience in the trade. In order to do stuff like that, you really want to spend time with each contractor. Give each contractor an hour, hour and a half of your time. Getting the estimate's one thing, but ask them questions. You can get all kinds of questions online to ask the contractors, and then specifically ask them questions, and then look to see what their answers are going to be for those questions. Are they trying to really work hard at trying to find an answer, or does it come out genuinely, like they know what they're talking about? And then ask around too. Ask for references. Ask for people that have had their roofs done. So there's a number of things that you can do that will help in getting a qualified roofer to do your project for you.
Great. So as a homeowner, to do due diligence was really to do a lot of research and qualify the person that's coming to work on my roof by doing, like I said, the research and asking and having a list of questions to ask when I do meet with you. Don't just open up a phone book or take the first person off Google, because that might not be your best choice.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally thousands of roofers out there. There's thousands, and then this number of roofers. I mean, year in and year out, they're in one business, they're in another business. Different company name. So it's you really want to take your time, and do the research, to make the right choice.
And really, as we have talked before too, using your gut, really kind of going with your gut, and who you feel comfortable with, who's going to do a quality job with integrity and do it right the first time.
Absolutely, yeah. Great. And then stand behind their work.
Which is important.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. There's no one that's going to tell anyone that's going to tell you they're going to do it perfect every single time. It's just not real. Everyone makes mistakes. It's how quickly they respond, to those issues, customers' concerns, follow-ups. I mean, it all plays a big part.
Absolutely. So with, obviously in the midst of winter that we're in, some of the concerns that we hear about from our clients and customers is ice dams. So what causes ice dams, and how can we technically maybe not prevent them, but really kind of cut down the potential to have them?
The main reason, to educate customers out there, is what causes an ice dam is heat escaping through your home. Snow goes on your roof, heat escapes through your insulation in your home. It gets in the attic, it melts the snow that's on your roof. When that snow or that melting snow gets to the edge of your roof, it freezes. That constantly happening builds up an ice dam, and that ice dam can back up underneath your shingles, potentially leak in your home. Now there's many different ways that you can stop the ice dam from leaking in your home. I mean, putting the top quality ice and water membrane on the roof, and having a professional install it that knows how to install the products correctly. You can get ice and water shield that's $30 a roll. You can get ice and water shield that's $120 a roll. So it's important to do your research on the products. Make sure the contractor's putting a quality product on your roof.
Right.
It's going to cost a little bit more money, but you're going to save time in the long run. Another thing is to make sure your roofing contractor gets in your attic to look at your insulation. 80% of houses in New Hampshire are under insulated in their attics. I go up in most attics, you get 8 inches of insulation. They recommend an R38, which is 18 inches of insulation.
Wow.
So, and a lot of people lose heat. They think windows and doors, predominantly it's in their attic. They lose the heat out of their attic through their ceiling, and then it gets in the attic. It causes the snow to melt. So adding insulation, very, very important. And then another aspect is once you get the heat in your attic, is because any amount of insulation, you're going to have the heat rise up through, you know what I mean? Just less. So once you get it in your attic, you want to get that out of your attic as quickly as possible, and that's where the proper ventilation comes into play. Adequate soffit vents in the bottom edge of your roof in conjunction with the ridge venting that the roofer will put in. Normally a top quality ridge vent. There are a lot of different ridge vents out there. I mean, this is pretty involved. So all those things will help minimize the ice dams from accumulating. And then we have acts of nature. Sometimes we have really cold temperatures. We have a lot of snow accumulation. Cleaning your roofs off helps. So there's a bunch of preventative methods you can do. And then sometimes it's just Mother Nature.
Right. Right. So, but the biggest things you would say is really the main part of kind of cutting that down is both insulation and proper ventilation is, you know, probably the best way to really cut back on having those ice dams is making sure that that's done correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. That, and then if you can't do the proper insulating or ventilating in certain areas because the house is an old style home, it's very important to do top quality ice and water membrane installed in certain areas.
And every home, I'm sure, is different. So it's not like a cookie cutter, you know, you do this with this home and you do the same thing. It's not an assembly line. You're talking, it's important for a roofer to go out and really analyze what's going on and kind of look at the home. Now, would now be a good time for somebody to come, for you, to come out and look at a home to kind of see what's really going on during the winter time so that you can kind of gauge it a little better?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's absolutely the right answer. You know, we like to come out this time of year because we can see ice dams accumulating in specific areas, know that those are potential problems for people. They have ice dams leaking in this time of year. Now's a time where you can actually address those issues. You can see the areas where the ice dams are building up, the problems that people are having. So yeah, actually this time of year would be a good time of year to address those things and then, you know, take the proper precautions when we're doing somebody's roof, because everybody's roof is different. I mean, not everyone lives in a ranch home. You know, they have styles. I mean, they're angled certain ways. Tree lines block. I mean, you get sun, you get no sun. And it just it's really, really involved as far as where ice dams build up, how much heat's escaping, and so it's a trade. It takes years and years to understand it, to master it. We never quite get there. You know, we're constantly learning. So yeah.
Well, that's good. You need to constantly learn, I think, in the fields that we specialize in, so that we can better, you know, service homeowners. You know, which I think is important. I always thought that the best time to look at a roof was obviously or the problems would be, you know, when there's no snow. I'm sure that probably helps, but I would have never have thought to have somebody come out during this time to kind of look at what's going on. So if I walk outside my home and I start seeing ice dams, it's probably a good thing maybe to give you a call and just say, hey, do you think you can come check this out? Because I might be having some potential problems especially if you know if your roof is older or if you live in an older home and you might not have the proper ventilation.
Yeah, absolutely. And one telltale sign is having ice dams building up on the edge of your roof, but also if you notice icicles coming through your soffits themselves. And then sometimes what happens is if they're coming through your soffits, the ice dam is already backing up. And then eventually the ice dam, you'll have icicles coming through down your siding. And then that's telling you that the ice dam is backing up even further, and then it's just a matter of time before it backs up an additional foot and leaks in your home. So telltale signs of an ice dam really giving you a hard time is seeing those soffit icicles, seeing the icicles come down your siding. So it's one thing to look at, you know.
That's good. That's good. Very good information. So we shouldn't just kind of go out our front door and get into our car. We probably should do due diligence. During times like this,
Absolutely, we'd be more than happy to do that.
Great, great. Well, some good information. I think that enlightened me, and hopefully will invite some of our clients and people who watch. And thank you very much for coming and answering some questions.
Thanks for having me.